Ladies and gentlemen, live from Kelvin University, it's The Tonight Show!
Welcome to The Tonight Show. I am your host, Jack Droppers. We have an incredible show for you tonight. John J.B. Britton is here, and we will have a musical performance by Young Ritual. But first, let's get to the news. Recently, NASA revealed that there is actually more water than previously believed on the moon. But, I don't want to get all QAnon on the show, but I've had trouble believing anything that NASA has said ever since I found out that astronaut ice cream is not actually eaten by astronauts. So, here is my statement. I demand that NASA delivers me some of that sweet moon juice before 2021, or I will tweet to my 107 followers that you're liars. I digress. According to MLive, last week a man from New York who is really into competitive eating challenges completed 4 competitive eating challenges throughout the state at a variety of restaurants. Now I'm told that this man's name is Mark, and it has a last name that I cannot pronounce, but it's spelled G-D-D. And I know it's low humor to make fun of someone's name, but I'm thinking that the way you pronounce that is also the same sound that happens after 4 competitive eating contests. So, thank you, Mark, for visiting our state. A Florida man recently stole a bulldozer in order to run over the yard signs of a particular presidential candidate. Now, it would be so easy to make a Florida man joke here, but let's be honest, Michigan men don't have a great track record of how to deal with opposing beliefs either. Finally, in international news, this is a true story. A company in Tokyo has invited customers who are concerned about COVID-19 to come and ease their anxiety by lying in a glass coffin while zombies with chainsaws run around them. I guess that the exhibit is just called America. Finally, after this episode, we only have 3 episodes left before the end of the semester. So in 2 weeks, we will be having our first episode of The Tonight Show live and in person at the CFAC Auditorium. Now, the audience will be limited to 200 people, but you will want to be there. The show will reflect on the election, the past semester, and we will have a live musical guest. You will not want to miss the sound of me telling a terrible joke without the laugh track. More details coming soon, and we'll be right back with JB.
Wouldn't you rather be a scaredy cat than a sad pup like me? Come watch The Invisible Man with the SAO on Saturday.
All right, welcome back. He is the Associate Dean of the Campus Involvement Leadership Office. CIMO. And also my boss. Welcome, JB, to the show.
Hey, it is good to be here.
Yeah,
I was wondering when you were going to invite me. But,
I figured we should wait until we at least know what we're doing on the show.
I feel like you guys figured it out. You're doing good, so yeah.
So many people may not know this about you, but you went to Calvin.
Yes.
At least 3 years ago.
Something
as
like
a student.
That. Yep.
But you were a transfer student from another college.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to name drop that other college. But I'd love to hear more about you as a student and why transfer to this place.
Yeah, so what was going on in a 17 or 18-year-old brain to choosing colleges, I'm not always sure. But for me, I chose Liberty University. In Lynchburg, Virginia, and I grew up in Canada, so this was like a really outside-the-box choice.
Yes.
All my friends were wondering, what are you doing? I had the dream of playing, Division I football. That was the goal.
Which is crazy that Liberty has a Division I team.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's like Division I AA. I don't even know what that is. So, anyways, but it soon became clear that, that was not going to happen in my future. I really should have been maybe a Division III athlete if I was going to do that. But Liberty taught me so many crazy things. That school brought out, for me, the worst. It was really strict. It just was not a good fit. And so they give out demerits. So at the end of each semester, you had get a tally. And I think at the end of my first semester, I had 32 demerits. And at 16, you could be like let go. And so they said, John, Britton, I don't think you should come back second semester. So I was kind of sitting there December of my freshman year, like wondering what should I do. And so I did an amazing semester at YWAM, Youth with a Mission, which was like life-changing. But then at the end of that experience, I was like, well, what should I do? And so ended up transferring to Calvin. And this was before like the internet was a big thing. So like I had never seen campus, never been on campus, just kind of heard minor glimpses of it. I didn't realize it was Dutch. I didn't realize campus was CRC at the time. So it was kind of like I'd never been to Michigan, believe it or not. So it was a big leap, but had a really positive first experience and a great 3 years here at Calvin, which now has turned into like 23 years of work, which is like a little bit surreal. So I had an awesome 3 years here.
What sort of things were you getting demerits for? I mean, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, well, it ranged. So for me, wearing jeans to class.
Can't do that. That
was a demerit. I did have earrings at the time, but you couldn't wear them.
Okay.
So I'd forget to take my earrings out.
Yes.
Listen to secular music.
Really?
Was 3 demerit points.
Oh, wow.
So anytime I had my radio on and the RA found out about it, they had mandatory church on Sunday.
Okay.
So they got caught missing church. So that was...
I would have done poorly there.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what I was thinking. It was...
I think I only wear jeans. Yeah.
It was one of those things where I'm like, I wish my parents would have given me a little better, or my friends or somebody. But my decision making was not good in choosing Liberty. It was not a good fit at all.
Yeah.
So.
When you transferred to Calvin, what was it easy for you to make that? Obviously, not knowing anything about Calvin, but also like going from Liberty or going from your home in Canada to Liberty to Calvin, like those are probably 3 different culture shocks in some way.
Huge. I mean, you wouldn't think they were maybe as big as they were, but I think Calvin was like, for me, everything started to click, particularly the jump between Liberty and Calvin, where I just saw a lot of freedom that existed. And it was, what's really interesting is to look at, for a certain part of my career here at Calvin, I did discipline. Like I was on the other side of the desk. And I was like, man, Calvin's philosophy around discipline here is so different than Liberty. Because at Liberty, if you broke the rules, you were out. Here, there's much more of like, hey, let's figure out what's going on in your life. Let's kind of see what's kind of changing. And that was such a positive environment for me the 3 years I spent here and got really involved and engaged. But I think just the way in which Calvin thought about Christian higher ed compared to the other school was like significantly a big change for me.
Yeah, that's cool. So I want to talk a little bit about your role outside of your main role, which is you lead. Maybe this is part of your main role, the outdoor like orientation. What is the official title of that?
The wilderness
orientation. Yeah. And you all had a crazy wilderness orientation this year because my guess is you didn't know that you were going to do it until you were probably doing it in some ways.
Yeah.
But what's it like off the grid?
So Ryan Rooks is a great colleague of mine, and he does a lot of work with me. And actually, Ryan and I have done some interims to Costa Rica. We've done Costa Rica, Panama 5 different times where we spend 3 weeks off the grid. And then we encourage students to be completely off the grid once a week. That is probably for me one of the favorite things about that experience. But that's what also students say. Like when you take their phones away from them, they're like giving you this very dirty look.
Just
like what? Yeah, exactly. And yet at the end of the trip, that's often what they say was the most transformative part is not having like minute by minute access to social media. So that's one of my favorite parts about those trips. I think the other factor of being off the grid is just the opportunity to like be quiet in nature. There are so many great links and kind of like expectations you have when you're in the wilderness, and how you can see God in ways that you can't imagine that you see him in regular life. It's hard to explain that, but it's been a transformative experience for me personally to be able just to be quiet and to hear God and listen to God, and that's something we really encourage students to do. And so it's been a real pleasure to be able to have, I think this now 13 or 14 years we've been doing wilderness orientations. Yeah.
Awesome. Final question. You don't actually have the power to fire me, correct?
Well, I mean, maybe. It depends.
So, in a world where you could fire me, what is one? Because you and I don't talk about music that much, which is a lot of my.
Well, I talk about your music.
You talk about my music,
yeah.
but we don't necessarily talk about bands that I should bring in. But if you were on the edge of firing me and I had to bring in one artist to perform that would convince you this guy's worth keeping around, who would it be? And preferably someone under like 15 grand.
Under 15 grand. You know, I think music and I, you know, it's. I don't. Do you drink wine? Am I allowed to talk about wine?
Yeah, you can talk about wine.
Okay.
I'm not really a big wine drinker.
See, I'm not a big wine drinker either. Although, like, if I compare music to wine, like, I'm not super discerning. Like, for me, I don't know if I could tell a $50 bottle of wine from a $10 bottle of wine. I
definitely cannot.
And so I would compare that to my like taste in music.
Okay.
So I do like popular music, but I think if I look at my connection back to Canada, like some of the older bands in Canada, Tragically Hip or the Bare Naked Ladies were like the thing when I was in college. But now I think Lecrae would be someone that I'd love to have on campus.
I got an email back from his agent yesterday.
Okay. So that would be an awesome band. But I mean, ultimately, if budget wasn't an issue, and this has nothing to do with college students, because I don't think college students know who this band is anymore. But like, I've seen U2 live probably 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And I mean, before they die, I think it'd be nice to see them one more time here on campus.
When's the last time you saw them?
So Chicago, maybe 4 years ago. Was that right?
The like experience tour?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was about 4 years ago.
I think I was there too.
Yeah. You were? Yeah. So
on the floor to the right.
Yeah, I was on the floor in the center.
Bono had just gotten in the accident, and you could tell he was in so much pain because his like shoulder was like out of or something. And
really?
He couldn't play guitar because his.
They're amazing live. Yeah. Imagine bringing them. I mean, here in the CFAC auditorium, that'd be pretty amazing. No students would go, but I mean, 10.
There would be students' parents who would like berate them like a $5 ticket to see. It's never gonna happen.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Good to be here.
And when U2 comes to the CFAC, you can do the interview with me.
Okay. And I want a free ticket.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. We will be right back with a performance from Young Ritual.
She walks into the door. She's creeping on the floor, saying, when are you gonna do something? Can't keep rolling out of bed, leaving you and your messy head, telling me something's coming. 'Cause what if it doesn't? We still got each other, and I know I always say that, I get lost in your freezer, and we're slowly fading, and we'll slowly make it together, together,
And that's our show. Thanks so much to JB for being here and for not firing me. And thanks for the music, Young Ritual. You can stream his new song, Together Alone, out now. That's our show. Good night. Woo. Young Ritual. Not a rapper. Young Gravy. I'm not familiar with Young Gravy. Okay, Young Gravy. Hashtag Young Gravy on the Tonight Show. Is that a rapper?
Oh yeah. Well, rap might be generous for what he does.
A spoken word to country music. Young Gravy sounds like, I don't know what it's like, just a bad Southern euphemism for somebody who doesn't know how to cook turkey.